Hello, hello.
Hi everyone.
We are here. That was Ollie's knee popping.
That was the other knee.
The other knee?
Yeah, it's this one.
Oh, that was Ollie's knee popping. If you heard that. And we are on June 5th. Welcome to June 5th.
June 5th.
June 5th. Blow your own nose.
Okay.
I will say that I don't think I've ever asked anyone else to blow my nose for me.
No, right, but like there's the, like the parents help
Yeah,
kids,
when
and
you're
then
a
at
kid.
some point, like, blow your own nose type.
Oh, okay. I don't think I was that kid who was like, Mom, please help me blow my nose. I know she did it for a while, but...
Mm-hmm.
Or like the lady at the DMV in Chicago had this baby and she was from the baby's nostrils, like directly, like sometimes there's the little thing, but like, and then she swallowed it too.
Mm-hmm.
It was bizarre.
Thanks for sharing.
I'm sorry. Do we need to like cut this out? Do we need to start over? I'm so sorry. Okay.
Great start.
I think we're good, right? We're gonna keep going. Epictetus, I'm gonna move on. Epictetus.
Let's do it. It's good. No, it's great. It's great.
Epictetus says, "We cry to God Almighty. How can we escape this agony? Fool, don't you have hands? Or could it be God forgot to give you a pair? Sit and pray your nose doesn't run, or rather just wipe your nose and stop seeking a scapegoat."
That reminds me of these like, by your bootstraps. What is that saying? Get yourself up by your bootstraps or something. There's a saying.
Like lift yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah. So it's like we all have. It's like very. It's speaking from this like we all can. We are all responsible for our own actions. Let's roll our sleeves. We have hands. Let's go do the things that instead of lamenting about how hard it is. And in some way, true. I agree with it. On many ways, I can also see how that it is. That might not be helpful to many people to say, "Hey, just get up and come on, you got your hands, let's go, move." Okay, that's great, but now where are you? Now where did you go? You gave me this thing, and now you're away again. You're not here to actually help me to guide me through this crazy beginning of how is this actually done? How do I make mistakes? How do I learn from them? Like all of that stuff. It's like I'm also wishing like, oh, that would be great if someone showed that to me or something. And like I feel like I had to kind of learn it on my own. And I feel like everyone is ultimately responsible to learn it on their own. Therefore, for that reason, that quote is like perfect, right? But it's very simplistically said. Stop it. Go do it. Go do the thing. Stop complaining and go do it. And go start doing.
Yeah. Because it's saying like don't blame God. Like stop blaming God. Stop blaming other people. Take responsibility and say, okay, there is something that I can do in this situation. Maybe the something I can do is still not going to get me my hope and dream as the result, but it doesn't erase the fact that I still have control to do something right now. And as long as I'm saying, screw you, God, I'm distracted by that, and I'm not able to then step into my ownership and my locus of control of like, I decide how I show up here. I decide how I participate.
When you say God, what do you mean by that? Like, what's your definition?
Well, I think it feels different, like for different people, like I would feel sorry for myself a lot And I think that in some way is a way of blaming God, because it's like, why me? Why did this have to happen to me? And it's like, screw you, God, for doing this to me. So it doesn't always register as like, God, I'm blaming you. Sometimes it comes as a different form of that, but the form is like complaining, pointing my finger at somebody else. Like anytime I'm calling somebody else a name, even, this guy's an asshole, this person is a jerk. Like anytime I would be doing that is another way of me like putting off my responsibility to show up in a certain way in that moment and saying, well, there's nothing I can do because look at how terrible this whole thing is in front of me.
So ultimately, like any complaint about anything is really complaining about God or something like that, because everything that we experience is coming from this place that we don't know where that is and how it comes here. We have no concept of it. Therefore, everything that is here and we're like, I don't like it, must be complaint about God. Yeah.
And maybe it's not that important that we know how, because as to your point of like, you learn it for yourself, I learn it for myself, it seems like everybody has to learn it for themselves. Maybe what he's driving at is like, you don't need to know how. What you need is to be clear about not blaming God and taking extreme ownership. And if you are clear about that, the how, you will put wheels into motion to figure it out. And the how will get figured out at some point. That's not the hard part or the important part. The important part and the hard part is this thing here of like, crap, I complain a lot. You know, crap, I'm like, there's a lot of times where I just sort of want to give up on a situation, like, oh, well, like, what can I do? Or I'm not built for this, I'm not cut out for this. These are like other lines of thought in this general way that is just me feeling bad and sorry for myself because the situation I'm in is harder than what I am prepared to handle
or like
the right way. Yeah.
Or even imagined. It's like a new situation that is also recognizable to be like harder than anything you have before done. In this
zone, whatever the zone
like it's like,
is.
no, it doesn't hurt more than like a broken leg, but it's like hard, like different way, and that different way, that this is a new level of hard, and it's like, how am I dealing with this, right? Like it's so ultimately all of those things are new, right? Like, because every day we learn new things, and therefore tomorrow we're dealing with new things that are differently hard than the ones from yesterday. So it's almost hard to, it's
and that's like by design, and we should actually be embracing that the same way that a strength trainer or a strength builder goes to the gym and says, I'm going to lift more weight than I did yesterday because I've adapted to the weight that I lifted yesterday. It's that weight is not as hard for me today, and I need to keep challenging my system and making it so that my system can take on progressively bigger and bigger challenges. And it's the same in every dimension of life, not just strength training.
Training in general, yeah. What you were just saying, it reminded me the story from, what is that book about the moments?
The Power of Moments, maybe?
The Power of Moments.
Is maybe the name of the book?
Something like that, yeah. But he was talking about how, like, during segregation, in like, I don't even know what years those were, like this was like late, like in 60s or something.
Yeah, right,
like,
before
50s,
the civil rights movement.
And so they were like the silent demonstrations were all like they were training for those, because they said if we go sit at the bar where we're not supposed to sit, we're gonna get harassed, and we're gonna get all this craziness is gonna happen. We might get beat up, we might get dragged out and arrested, as it happened, right? And so but so if you just go there cold, you're gonna lose your shit. You're gonna start maybe fighting with them, and now you're not no longer doing the non-violent thing, right? So then doing the non-violent thing, they were practicing with other people coming over there and assaulting them, and they were just like, oh, this is what it's gonna be like when we go there. And that's why they were able to actually sit there and withstand this pressure from all these people. Like it was so inspirational. And then like when you were reading this is like, oh wow, like yeah, this is also the training is not just like in the gym, which it is, but also in these other ways of like preparing ourselves for these hard moments. Yeah, very cool. All right, let's see what Mr. Ryan's got to say, or Stephen and Steve.
This sounds like Ryan. If I had to guess, I don't know what Stephen's contribution to this is. I still have to look that up.
Yeah, that's all good.
All right. Ryan says...
Maybe the pictures.
Yeah, all the pictures that are in this book. If you have this book at home, you know there's 0 pictures. Okay, Ryan says, the world is unfair. The game is rigged. So-and-so has it out for you. Maybe these theories are true, but practically speaking, for the right here and now, what good are they to you? That government report or that sympathetic news article isn't going to pay the bills or rehab your broken leg or find that bridge loan that you need. Succumbing to the self-pity and woe is me narrative accomplishes nothing. Nothing except sapping you of the energy and motivation you need to do something about your problem. We have a choice. Do we focus on the ways we have been wronged, or do we use what we've been given and get to work? Will we wait for someone to save us, or will we listen to Marcus Aurelius's empowering call to get active in your own rescue, if you care for yourself at all, and do it while you can? That's better than just blowing your own nose, which is a step forward in itself.
Yeah, a couple of things came out, like something with problem. What was what was he saying?
He was saying like it saps you of energy. It like self-pity saps you of the energy and motivation you need to do something about your problem.
Oh, and the something about the problem is like like people that brought up the problem identification work. It's the work is not like necessarily, because I don't know what to do tomorrow, but I know there are a lot of problems there tomorrow that I can go dig deeper of why they're problems. So that I know how to do. So go do that. That's the rolling sleeves and go to do that. Because that's again going to, what's his face? Apple boy, Steve Jobs, saying if you identify the problem correctly, the solution presents itself.
Yeah.
So the same way here is like, because this might say like, go do something, apply solutions to your problems. It has this underlying concept of use solutions, know what the solution is to your problem. And that I think is like a lot of people, including me, was like, I was trying to do that. I was like, well, what is the solution? I don't even know what this problem is. Well, I'm spending all this time on looking for a solution to a problem that I don't even know what it is. So the work, we're looking for these solutions here, seems like that's the waste of time. That's when I'm wasting all of my time. I need to be more in the like, hey, what is the problem? Go in there, look at this. It's uncomfortable to look at the problems. Like, yeah, it's like, oh,
and yeah,
I spend time in there, but if I keep digging in there, something from here, from the shelf of solutions, will be like, oh, well, it's of course it's this blue thing. Right. Jesus Christ, right? Like it'll just like be known by the time we identify, and so I'm hearing in there. Roll up your sleeves, go do the work of the problem identification.
And on that note,
to myself.
yeah.
No to self. No to self.
And on that note, it's like, you know, he starts out with like the woe is me, like the world is so unfair, this person's out to get me. That is already like calling a problem out loud, but the problem with that problem identification is it's too superficial. So it's like it's not the right problem.
Because the problem is not identified yet. So we're just like scratching the surface, and the problem looks like these guys don't like me.
Yeah, I think the problem identification process is the process of saying the problem is this, and then you're like, oh no, that doesn't feel totally true. That doesn't feel like a bullseye. I mean, it feels like it's part of it, but like, no, because the problem is this. Yeah. Oh wait, shit. No, that's also just like a part of it. Like this, I feel like is like the problem identification process. And so it might start there at the world is so unfair. This person is out to get me. This person betrayed me. Like, even there's a good example of me at work recently where I was like working with a freelancer that I was having a lot of challenge communicating with. And the way my brain was formulating the problem was like it's her problem. She's not answering my questions. She's not giving me like clear commitments. She's not following through on her commitments. Like it was all of these things. And then I was like, wait, like, what if my problem is like, I'm not asking clear enough questions? What if my problem is like, I'm not forcing the clarity of the commitment. And then I'm not like following up about that commitment to show her that it's been broken on her side, you know, like, and so just changing my frame of mind to like, wait, no, the problem is how I am engaging with her, all of a sudden gave me all of these ideas for like, okay, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. Versus when
you identified the problem, and now your mind went from, oh, the problem is identified. Let me go through all this shelf of really quickly what fits this, and that's fun. That's fun. Yeah.
And not everything works, but at least it feels like there's forward movement.
You can. There is a return policy on the solution.
Yeah, it's still like
shelf.
It's still there's still gonna be failure.
I tried this. Thank you. It didn't work.
But at least it doesn't feel stuck.
Yeah.
Because when I'm complaining about something, it's stuck. It's like locked in a place. And that, what is actually more painful than whatever the complaint is itself is the fact that it feels so freaking helpless. Like, oh my God, like I can't do anything about this because I'm currently defining my problem as a problem that is God did it to me or this other person did it to me. So like if the problem's out there, oh my gosh, like what can I possibly do? But if the problem is like it's how I'm looking at it. It's how I'm showing up here. It's how I'm taking it. It's all of these different things. Like now, okay, let me go act.
I can do something with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus when I'm looking for the problem out there, even if I find it, there's nothing I can do about it. So again, spending time of being in, complaining about the things around us, whatever they are, means already that we are looking for the problem outside of here, right? We taking the blame from within here. We are not maybe comfortable, and this is maybe subconsciously. We're not like realizing that we're doing this until we go like talk about this like this for 20 minutes, right? And they're like, holy shit, I'm doing this, right? Yeah. So it's a digging type of work, going in there and digging of how we operate to actually learn how we actually operate, because we don't know. We think we operate a certain way, but then when we go look in there, we go like, oh my God, I'm just totally not doing it the way I'm communicating with all these people and thinking to myself that I'm doing it that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same way with like yoga or something where like if you videotape yourself doing it and watch it back afterwards, it's a totally different information that you get than from how you feel yourself to be moving on the mat. And there's so many times I feel like filming for me has actually been really helpful for my practice, because then I'm like, oh, I thought that my low back was in a neutral position here. Like, look at it, it's super rounded, you know? And then it's like staring me in the face, versus like if I never had that information, I would just be delusional about thinking that this other thing is true when really it's not true. And I'm just bringing that up because of what you said of like, it's so easy. They talked about this, I think, in like one of the earlier months, like March or something, about how like self-delusion is such a sneaky beast. Because like we all want to think I'm not self-deluded, but like we're so delusional.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there is no. I don't even think that that's even possibility for us to not be delusional. I think that that's actually the way. Being delusional is part of how the system works, because it is in all of us, and I can't imagine how we could even perceive reality without
diluting it
somehow to make it simple for our brains to even accept what we saw, like, you know, people have like crazy situation happens and they're like, oh, I remember like this, and they're like, well, no, that's not, or like there's this mechanism of like, hey, don't worry about it. The brain lies to ourselves to say, don't worry about it, nothing happened, but it's actually like, no, things happened. So this delusion is really, I think that's part of the system, part of the mechanism. I don't think that's like, we can't, but there is something to be said about being delusional from a kind of like maybe like ignorance or something, you know, like you know this is bad, but you're gonna continue to lie to yourself, essentially. You know?
Yeah, there's like the delusions,
but
there's
this internal knowing that you know smoking is bad for
there's
you.
There's the delusion that you know, you kind of know, like, I'm deluding myself about this. But then there's the delusions, the more dangerous ones, I guess, in air quotes, are the ones that are completely invisible.
Completely invisible. Yeah. And danger, but it's interesting because like, also Gendlin was talking about those invisible ones, and like they're invisible on purpose because they need to be discovered by the person who doesn't see them. When someone else notices them and then they bring it up to that person and say, hey, do you know that you're doing this and this and this and this? That person will deny it because they don't see that they're doing it.
Yeah.
And you or I or anyone on this planet coming to them and saying, hey, you're doing this wrong, it is not going to make them all of a sudden understand all of it, right? It's even if you give them examples, even if you do, no, this is like, oh, you notice something like, this person is doing something like that. That's interesting. Okay, cool. Hey, are you aware that this is happening? Like a question, right? And then that person can then say, no, what? I'm not doing that. Okay, that's okay. Let's keep moving. Right, or let's keep talking. Let's keep, there doesn't need to be like, you are doing it and you are.
I would say
if
even
they're not aware of it. If they're like, aware of it, then yes, have a full-blown conversation about it. But
I'm thinking like even if they're not aware of it, even that question could
spark things. No, yes. Not even, the best thing is just to notice it and be like, oh, that's interesting, and continue, move on.
The best thing to do is like when I like, and this is like what I'm learning right now, is like when I see something in other people that I want to call out is like, like you're not walking the walk. Like,
what is it in me that wants to call that out?
What is it in me that wants to call that out? That is good. Mostly though, I'm like looking at it as like, oh shit. The way in my head is like, I'm doing so good with walking the walk. And so then when I see somebody else that I want to like call out, I'm like starting to like have this moment where I like put a pause on it and I'm like, wait, hold on, Brentan, there's actually a lot of things that you do in this same way that you're not aware of, and you need to be focused on what that is, and like turn the attention on that, because that's my life's task. My life's task is actually to work through my own delusion as much as possible, and I can't do that when I'm busy pointing out all of the other ways in which other people are being hypocrites.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you're talking about now more of if I'm constantly looking outward for problems.
And I used to be more like that, but
Yeah,
even now, it's just like
every
once in a while.
You would spend a lot of time on doing that, because you're like, oh, I'm looking out, oh, problem there, problem, oh, that's bothering me, this is not up to my standard, this requires me to be more higher standard than I am. Oh yeah, this is all making me right, and it's like the actual time is spent in there, right?
Right.
So our lives are going by doing this, and that can never be fixed there.
Right.
They can also not be fixed here, because that is not a problem. That's just a view of ours. The view needs to be fixed in here of that.
And then that thing out there will also change.
Looked upon differently. Not fixed, maybe. But anyway.
Okay. I didn't. Sorry, because I was saying something at the same time, so I didn't catch what.
Because I was just saying fix, and I'm just saying, well, it's not fixing because nothing is really broken. It's just that's where I want to pay attention to, not fixing it necessarily. I want to be changing my view, not fixing my view. It's all.
Sure. Yeah. I'm okay with the word fix for that, but I see how you would want to make the clarification.
Yeah, because people have this thing of fix, fix is, oh, it's broken, it's not working. That means it should already be differently working, much better than it is. Therefore, that's a problem. We need to fix it. But that's now we go fix it. Now that makes me to go onto the solution shelf to say, how do we fix it? Versus again, no, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? Really, what is the problem? Almost that Toyota 7 questioning, what is the problem of this? Okay, then what is the problem? Yeah. Okay. You got anything else?
Nope. I say let's wrap it up.
You feel good about this one?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm just tired at this point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one was a long one, for sure.
All right, thank you for joining in at home, and remember to leave us a comment so we know who you are. We'll see you here tomorrow.